It's Gear Noir, the music gear show, with your host, Edwin Millheim, Chris Waters. In this episode, cut like this.
This one's going to be not necessarily tough, but I hate talking about technical stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I know what I like.
Yeah,
I think everybody
No,
does.
I mean,
Okay, so that was some banter behind the camera and behind the scenes, brought to you by us. Now we're getting goofy. Here we go again.
there we go.
And guess what? We're not doing drugs. We're just like this.
We're high on life.
Yeah.
You should be too.
Wait. I need another hit of life. Ready? Okay. Welcome to another episode of Gear Noir, and we're in episode...
Ocho. Hey.
What he said. So, we're going to talk a little bit about amps. Specifically, not pacifically, specifically American amps and British amps, okay? We were just talking about before we started that I really don't like overly talking about technical stuff.
Right.
Because I don't always feel comfortable about technical stuff.
Yeah.
Just like a lot of people out there that do music and such, they know what they like.
Yeah.
But, there's also a lot of tech heads or whatever they're called. Like for instance, gear. I've freely admitted in one of the forums online that I'm a gear whore. I just love gear.
Yeah.
And I've got a lot of freaking gear, a lot of virtual gear as well.
Yeah.
But anyway, American amps and British amps. So, from what I've gathered, British amps have a lot of mid-range crunch and like gritty sound.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Supposedly more compressed in the dynamic range, more distortion like Marshall, Orange, one of my favorites.
I love Orange.
One of my favorites.
I love Orange.
Vox and Black Star.
Yeah.
Okay. So, tell me about what do you like about Orange amps?
Orange, there's a lot of grit and crunch in those, and they definitely, especially when you're playing guitar through those, guitar is more mid-range.
Yeah.
You definitely want the mid-range coming from your guitars, coming from a mixing standpoint. And the Orange tends to bring that out and brings it to life. Because, if you don't have something bringing the mid-range to life, it's just going to sound muddy and flat.
Mm.
And the good thing about Orange amps is that it brings it to life.
Yeah.
It puts, for lack of a better way of saying it, puts color to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you lit up when you played on our Tiny Terror. In
I love
practice
it.
room.
I love it.
Yeah. Now, American amps supposedly emphasize highs and lows, scoops the mids, makes it a rounder low end, and clear treble. Less compression, more dynamic range.
Yeah.
So, stuff like
Mesa Boogie.
Fender, EVH, PV.
Yeah.
You know what's funny about that? As I researched, you may or may not laugh at me. You have my permission. Okay. So, you said Mesa Boogie, which is the correct pronunciation. Yeah. Did you know I never knew that?
Really?
Yeah, until doing this episode, I'm always going Mesa. Mesa.
At one time that's what I pronounced it as. But I think just because in the 80s,
Yeah.
a lot of the thrash bands like Metallica and they all preferred Mesa boogies.
Okay.
And whenever they would talk about those amps, they would pronounce it Mesa. And I believe, I may be wrong, but I believe it's out of Mesa, Arizona.
Oh, well, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Now, in retrospect, now tone divide comes from decades of design philosophy and the components choice.
Yeah.
And then of course the market demand.
Yeah.
Now, what's crazy is these days, especially, it's like the Wild West of amps at times.
Oh yeah.
Because depending on the components, you could actually these days take a Fender amp or something and if you're brave, you could mess with the components and you can get something just totally wild.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of which, I'm going to talk about, since we're talking about amps in general, amps, American amps, British amps. As you know, we use a lot of the amp emulators or simulators.
Yeah, we do.
And one of the things that, and I told you this, and I don't know if you remember this, sometimes to get the totally wild, crazy sounds that I get on some of our mixes, I'll take not only two different microphones, because if you could take two different microphones, because we have mic emulators too to change the sound up and such as well, and mix them together. I do that with amps too. Right. And sometimes I get some totally off the wall crazy sounds by doing that. And that's another thing. We like some of the tones and things we hear in some other songs and things. But don't be afraid to experiment. Yeah. You're going to come up with some really awesome stuff, and that way there's not a lot of cookie cutter, that sounds like this. Right. Tones. Right. Tones are great because, and it's individualistic.
One thing I've noticed too is that there's a lot of people, and this may be getting off the American-British thing, but there's a lot of people that love to mess with tube amps like Marshalls, and Laney, I think, is another British amp. Okay. They like to take Soft-Tech tubes and put in there. Those are Russian tubes. Really? And there's actually kind of a there's kind of a market for the for a Russian amp sound. What? Like there's one amp in particular called I believe it's called Red Bear. Okay. And a buddy of mine ended up getting one of those years ago. Okay. And it sounds it has a very British sound to it, but it's got kind of its own flavor too. Okay. Yeah, and it's
because of the components,
right?
Where they come from and what the philosophy is of them making those certain type of things and the way they make them. Yeah, that's awesome. I did not know that. Yeah. In fact, if you want and you happen to be watching this, write down in the comments about what kind of amps you use and why and what you like about them. Yeah, and the different tubes you use. Share that. Because that's one thing I've noticed is that a lot of times when it comes to the difference between some of these amps is, especially when it comes to tube amps. Yes. It's the type of tubes they use in those tube amps and the combinations that create these wonderful sounds. Now, I noticed, and this is probably Tube Amp 101, so people are going to go, ha 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 ha, he didn't know that. But I noticed, and I kind of learned about it later after using it, that after the tubes warm up is when they really sing. Yeah, and I had to learn that myself because I remember
I remember when I was in high school, I was trying to choose between a couple of amps or whatever to get, and I ended up going with a PV Special 112.
Okay.
And it's a solid state, because it just kind of cranked up more so with the metal stuff that I was playing. I played a lot of thrash back then, and I was messing around with a crate tube amp, and I just couldn't get the sound that I wanted out of the crate.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's because I didn't let it warm up enough or what, but I ended up getting the Special 112 because it had the sound I wanted. But also I noticed over time that it still kind of wasn't keeping up with what I really would like to have gotten from it. You know what I mean? So over time, I messed with a bunch of different effects and things like that. Like I ended up getting a Zoom 505 effects pedal because the distortions that had come from that. But the more I learned about tube amps over time,
right,
is that like you were saying, I think it just takes a lot of time and effort to try to get the sound that you're basically looking for, and to get an original sound. It takes years of messing around with your gear and just playing around with things.
Well, I that being said, I do know that I ended up getting the Fender Mustang amp.
Yeah.
Because it has a lot of built-in, we're talking about emulators, it has a lot of built-in stuff already.
Yeah.
Without pedals. Some people may be old school and not like that, but let me tell you, embrace what comes out and make it work for you, because for me, that's pretty bloody awesome, because Fender Mustang amp just had to adjust a few things, and they had a program you could actually plug into your computer with the amp and kind of fiddle around and design some of your own tones as well.
Nice.
Which is what I loved about it. And I put them in there as Dragon and Berr this or Dragon and Berr that to emphasize this was the tone that we created for us. But in the long run, when you go American amps, British amps, rock out.
Yeah. And don't be afraid of the emulators, because the technology's just gotten so much better over the years. Because I remember when I first started playing with the amp simulators, I still kind of had a hard time with getting some of the tones I wanted. But over time, the more I messed with them, I've gotten some free and paid amp simulators that were that just sounded incredible. And speaking of, we were talking about Amplitude 5.
Yes, I was about to ask you that, but have you fiddled around with the changing of some of the components in it?
Yeah, definitely.
You can change out the what it does for like the tubes and stuff like that.
And the Tiny Terror that you have and the Tiny Terror that's an Amplitude 5, uncanny.
So real versus the...
it's uncanny. It sounds just like the real thing.
Yeah, it does.
It really does. So, don't be afraid of the emulators, because they're getting better and better. And I think even bands like Metallica have chosen to go with the emulators in their live setup.
Yeah. What is always funny to me, though, is stuff us lower beings have always been using forever.
Right.
Because don't knock the emulators also, because if you wanted to get all that gear that comes with an amp emulator, it would be in the thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And you got it right at your fingertips. And it sounds damn good.
It does.
So here's the thing, what I was about to say, and I kind of teetered off track. It's always amusing to me that stuff that us lower life forms were using all this time. Then all of a sudden, somebody really famous uses it, and it's like this cloud opens up. Oh my gosh, look!
Yeah.
It's like the best thing since sandwiches.
Yes,
or
sliced bread.
Yeah, exactly. Like, nobody's ever thought of this, but yeah, they have. But it also lets you know that high professionals that have been doing this for a long time have went and embraced technology because the technology is at a point for them good enough to give the sounds and tones of what they're looking for. And that says a lot.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It really does. I joke about the folks that are, have made it, per se, for lack of better terms, but, they earned it. They worked hard.
Yeah.
There's a sea of us out here, but that's fine. But the thing is that if professionals that make their bank and make their living at this thing only, embrace it, then that says a lot. That says a lot.
Yeah.
It really does.
One thing I do want to see though, that I haven't seen yet, and it may be out there. I definitely want to explore it.
What's that?
Okay, so back in the late '90s, there was a band. The band still exists. They ended up coming back, but they're called Sleep.
Okay.
And they're out of America, but they had an album they recorded in the late '90s called Jerusalem, which ended up being called Dope Smoker later on.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was like an hour-long song, but basically they had amps constructed for them from the company that does orange amps.
Okay.
These are called green amps, and
it's not like a greenback, is it?
Not really.
Okay. That's something different. That's a cab.
Yeah, but the green amps, they basically take the orange sound and make it even rawer and more, and just the sound that on that album, Dope Smoker, is amazing.
You realize we're all going to try to look these up now.
Yeah.
At this point in the video. But that being said, so you haven't looked for them yet.
I haven't looked
to see if they're emulated. I bet they're out there.
They probably
if they're not, it's a crime.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what.
They sound amazing, by the way.
That being said, as we always say, experiment, have fun. If you feel comfortable enough to make a comment and let us know, what kind of amps do you use and why? What do you like about that certain amp? Share in the community.
Yeah, because there's
it's
a lot
all about making music, dude.
Yeah, a lot of times we share ideas and things like that, and come up with
more awesome
great
stuff.
things.
Yeah. And so, as we say, episode 8, Gear Noir. And who is our guest?
Cut Like This.
Yeah, yeah, they're pretty cool. They're bloody cool, and here they are right now.
What's up, Misfits and Metalheads? We are from the band Cut Like This. I am Thorn Black.
I'm Rose Blood.
And thank you for having us today on Gear Noir. So we're just going to dive right into the interview before we start getting into our gear. What in your life influenced you to get into music? Rose, why don't you start this one?
All right. Well, I was influenced to get into music actually from a very early age because my mom bought me one of those little baby keyboards, one of those little Casio boys, you know what I mean? That has the little lights at the bottom to show you what notes to hit. So I got into it because of that little keyboard. Later on, she ended up getting me a full-size keyboard. I took keyboard classes in school. So I started from being into piano and being into classical music. And that was really like my main interest music-wise until the fateful day that I was visiting my dad in Cleveland, and I had the rock station came on, and I heard a little band called 9 Inch Nails. And it changed my life entirely. Nice. And all of a sudden, I went from this person that was only into classical music, that didn't really understand like popular music around me at the time. All of a sudden, my little teenage brain exploded, and I had this whole new sound. And I was like, because I had always wondered why I didn't like modern music and why I didn't get like what other people got out of it and everything. And then finally, like that, I was like, oh, this is what I was waiting for. I was waiting for something interesting and different. And, that's really what hit me. And I got really heavily into like industrial and goth and punk and all that kind of stuff. That's really when I jumped into it. So nice. I would say that was my influence into music. What about you, Thorn Black?
So for me, I grew up around music. Like when I was a baby, before I could remember anything, I have pictures on my dad's chest falling asleep with headphones on. He just I didn't have a chance. I really didn't. Like
you were marked to be a musician.
Seriously, and I didn't even know it. I grew up with headphones on my head as a child, and then my dad was always listening to music. He would listen to like jazz and Spanish music, and then my mom is a very musical person as well. She was in choirs like all growing up throughout my life, and so my parents are just very musical. I feel like I didn't have a chance to not be musical. It grabbed a hold of me, and it just never let go. And when I think I was a senior in high school, when one of my friends forced me to listen to a music outside of my normal genre at the time, because I grew up in the Bronx, and at the time I was mainly listening to like hip hop, rap, R&B, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense.
I never really gave rock too much of a chance, and when I did hear it, it just kind of wasn't my jam. I didn't pay attention to it. One of my friends was like, "You have to listen. Like I know this isn't our genre, but the music video is crazy, and so is the song. Like genuinely sit down and listen to this. Please do me a favor, because nobody else will." I was like, "All right, fine." It was my bestie at the time, and guess what that song was? That song was "Freak on a Leash" by Korn. That nice. Song changed I was like, what? What is it like? What am I hearing? What's happening in my ears right now? It completely threw music like totally upside down to what I knew at that point, and I just fell in love with it. And years later, we're in our second band together, and probably our last, because I don't plan on giving this one up. I love this band, and we're in control of it. So. Yeah, that's how we got here.
All right, let's go to the second question. I want to tell it this time. I want to ask the question. Do you have any specific strong memories or experiences tied to a certain song that the band performs? And what is it, and what memories does it invoke?
I don't know if I have anything specifically attached to these songs, because since I write the music, I'm not as attached as, say, I would think potentially, I can't speak for you, but I would think maybe you would be, because you're writing it about a subject, about a topic, about something that can or cannot be personal, because it can be about something that's like real life.
Well, was there one big epic moment that has happened during a specific song for you that was like a really triumphant moment?
Two of my favorite songs to play with this band are Bite and The Sky is Falling. Bite is our song about, it's like the Red Riding Hood story, but what if it was from the wolf's perspective and the wolf was a werewolf? That song, I get a lot of pleasure playing that live and looking around to see who is into the group, because it's really like just driving forward, and lots of palm mutes and chugs on the guitars, really good rhythm matching with the drums. And for me, it's like that rhythm locking in. It's just like, I'm like, oh yes, I love this groove. And it really touches me to look out and see like anybody else that I may have like grabbed and is like feeling that groove with me at that same time.
Yeah, there's nothing better than seeing somebody headbang at the same moment that you're headbanging. You're like, yeah, you get it. You get it.
The other moment for me, it was probably going to be Sky is Falling, and that'll be in the bridge, where you're going crazy in the bridge, like screaming. And there's a couple of moments on stage in the past where she's gotten to that part, and that song is about something more personal. Some of our songs will be about like creatures and monsters and stuff, and others it might be a little bit more based in reality, and that one's more about losing somebody. And I really feel it, like when you get to the bridge of that song and you're belting those metal screams out. Like there was a time or two where playing it live, it touched me differently just hearing you, with everything. It was just, you're like, yeah. I'm like, oh my goodness. It's just like uncaged, like savagery sometimes. And I really feel the emotion so much more than the album at points. So those will be two songs for me that will touch me in different ways with people or with my band.
For sure.
What about you, Rose?
Sky is Falling is definitely, that one is my most personal song that I've ever written, really. And it was very specifically about, losing somebody to terminal illness. And it was crazy because I wrote it about losing one person, and then as we were getting ready to shoot a video for it, which obviously these things don't happen one after the other. It takes time to do all of these things. But that was during the pandemic, and little did I know I was going to lose my dad. And it was, and it meant even more to me, like it kind of morphed from being a song just about losing one person to encompassing losing two people to illness in a really horrible way. And so definitely I have absolutely cried on stage performing the song. I even sometimes will just warn people ahead of time. I'm like, yo, you guys might see the waterworks. This song is hard for me to sing sometimes. Because I just, emotion is like that. Emotion is a volatile thing. You never know when it's going to overtake you. And
I got to say, even as just one of your bandmates, sometimes I can feel when it hits you more because you can hear it.
Yeah.
And it's like, not even looking at you, I can like feel it on stage,
I've even had people come up to me after the show and tell me that I made them cry from that song, because I'm always very honest, because I don't know how I'm going to react to it or if I'm going to make it through the... Sometimes I'm scared I'm not going to even make it through the song, and I'm like, why did I put this song in the set? But but I put it in the set because it's an important song to me, and it's an emotion that I think, especially during the pandemic when so many people lost so many of their loved ones. I lost my dad. My best friend lost her dad too. You know what I mean? So we both were just like shattered and broken. And, I feel that there are times when there are certain themes that are universal and easy for everybody to understand. And I think that that's one of them. And I think that the feeling that it invokes specifically is a feeling of helplessness, of not being able to, like wanting more than anything to be able to do something about this horrible thing that's taking away somebody way too soon, and not being able to do anything about it except for to scream, So when I'm screaming that song, I'm really freaking screaming it, And I think that people can get that and they can feel that. So, all right, next question.
We're going to keep it rolling and try to lighten it up just a little bit. Just a little.
Sorry, we got in our feels.
Hey, I'd rather be honest about the connection that we have to our music than not.
For real. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
All right, why don't you read me the next question?
All right, the next question. Which of the band's songs represents you the most and why?
Me the most?
You the most.
All right. So currently, I'm probably going to say Bite.
Okay.
I'm going to say that for a couple of reasons. One, I like that it's just like, it's energetic, it's like kind of heavy, rhythmic in your face. It's a big groove, easy to get into, and then it kind of takes you on a nice musical journey in the bridge. I mean, I'm sorry, not the bridge, and like the chorus, because we kind of did the opposite. It's kind of like heavier, and then like you go on this like light little musical journey, then back to like the, and it's about like werewolves, and my body always runs really hot for some reason. I always joke around that like I'm part werewolf. She'll be like, I'm so cold, and she'll touch me and I'm like burning up. She's like, oh my goodness, give me some of that heat. And I'm like, these cold ice queen hands coming over. I'm like, get out of here.
Queen.
But like, so I tend to like run on the hotter side. I'm very athletic. We're both a circus performers. She's my partner. I've always been athletic for my entire life. Then looking back at movies like Teen Wolf, like old school movies in like the 90s and stuff, but like Michael J. Fox and like Teen Wolf, when I used to see that movie and he was like just super athletic, and I just kind of tied a little bit of what I would want my personality to be in the supernatural realm to like more of like a werewolf. Not that I don't love vampires, but they're like a little more classy, calm, elegant, and laid back. I'm a little bit more of that like kind of hyper aggressive, which I think lends to my athleticism and the extra body heat that I have. So that's why I say it's Bite. Rose, what do you think yours is?
All right. I think, let's see. I think that that's a really tough one because they're all, I mean, they're all me in some way, shape, or form.
You just got to pick one, though.
But if I were to pick one,
Good thing the
I
movie
would
piece
say that the one that represents me the most is probably Slash 'Em Up. Because it's all about my favorite activity, which is sitting at home and watching horror movies and watching some people get toe up,
watching the bad decisions they make
with your best friend, just chilling and eating popcorn and being ridiculous, and I feel like that definitely represents me a lot in my fun loving. I feel like that song is like so fun and energetic,
right?
And like it has like it has a little bit of that punky scrappiness,
little punky,
that I've always been about.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And
that's what I was thinking when I was feeling that punk spirit when I was writing that one.
Yeah, I'm a super DIY person, and I always have been, and especially with my bands, I do a lot of the heavy lifting when it comes to any artwork or any imagery, because that's just what I love to do. I love to make art. So if it doesn't exist, I'm gonna make it, and I'm gonna find a way to make it. I'm gonna learn how to do it. I don't care if I have to do, you know what I mean? Like, I don't care what it is that I have to do or build. I have built robot arms. I have, you know what I mean? Like,
cool.
I've built many robot arms. At this point, I have built I built 5 different robot arms. I've built like stage stuff. I've made costumes by hand. So I feel like that song kind of encapsulates like the punky little DIY little scrappy do inside of me. So that's why I would choose that one.
Nice. All right, we're going to keep it moving. And the next question, if a deli named a sandwich after the band, what would it be? I'm sorry. What would be in it?
Okay. If a deli named a sandwich after the band, what would be in it? That's really tough. I would definitely have to put some salami in there because I'm really big on
down with
some
that.
hard salami.
Yeah, I'm down
That's
with that.
That's going in there.
We could toss a little bit of ham in there.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be mad at that.
You know what? It'd probably be like, would it be like a little Italian hoagie-ish kind of thing? Would it be like ham, salami, provolone, lettuce, tomato, salt, pepper?
But what if we kind of like heat it up like a Cuban? What if we like combine some of like the Italian and Cubanness? You know what I mean? Take a little bit out of Italian and we add some heat that the Cuban does with like the presses to melt some of that cheese on there.
Like a panini?
That's what I'm saying. What if it's kind of like a hybrid of like an Italian-Cuban kind of hybridish where, panini gets some of the extra heat, but we get some of the stuff, some of the classic things from an Italian. Like
I think my version would probably have like maybe some some of those banana peppers in it or something. I know you don't like those, but I would probably throw some.
No, we're
banana
gonna get those banana peppers out of here.
I would have
We're gonna put them on the side.
Spice it up.
We're gonna put them on.
Fire it up, baby.
Put them on the side like this.
On the side like this.
That's so funny. Because also I was thinking, and this is cheesy, and I'm not gonna stop with the cheesy jokes, so just get used to them when you come and see us. If we called us a sandwich after the band, I was like, what would we call it? And I was like, there's something called a club sandwich. And I was like, what if we just take that out and we were like, it's a club like this?
No,
a sandwich? I'm like, oh, that's too bad.
no,
That's horrible. That's a horrible name. That's horrible. I had to say it. I had to say it.
Why? All right. Now we get to show and tell about some of our gear. All right.
Why don't we start off with some of the gear we use to record? So,
okay.
Why don't we talk about our PreSonus?
All right. So this is the interface that we use.
Let's get a little bit closer with this, just so you can see it. We use the PreSonus.
This accepts XLRs. It accepts instrument cables.
I put like guitar cables, XLR cables.
Yep.
You know, you get
and
more
this
than one
goes
going.
to PreSonus speakers as well. We got the matching speakers that go with it. It's a sturdy little guy. You know, it's nice and strong. And we've had it for quite a while. This is the Audio Box i2 by PreSonus. I feel like they have a different version of it now. This is an older version.
Yeah, it's an older version, but
it works. It works, and that's all I needed to do.
Yeah, we've been working on getting our home recording situation set up so we can just put music out on a regular basis, because that was slowing us down a lot in the past. So leading up to this year, we're going to be putting out singles very frequently throughout the year now that we've been getting all of this knowledge and equipment. So that is a very important piece of gear.
Absolutely.
So then, you know, she'll be at work or something, and if I have like something in my head, then you know, I'll just sit down on the computer, plug my guitar right into it, I'll write some drums to it, you know, and here we go. I just shoot out a track for her. So we're going to show you what we use live to trigger our drums, because right now we're currently a 3-piece band. I play guitar, she's a vocalist, and we have a bass player, Corey Carver. We were not able to find a drummer at the times that we were looking for one, and it was just slowing us down. So we were like, we just need a solution. We need to move forward. I can't wait forever. So this is what we use to trigger our drums live.
This is our drummer. It's a little tiny guy. You notice that it's like a little stomp box guy. It has a very familiar setup to most musicians. This is the trigger for the we're gonna see right here is the trigger. So this will stop and start your tracks. It's very simple and straightforward. These are the different banks that you have for putting all of your tracks on. It has 12 tracks per bank, and it has about 12 banks. So that's pretty good.
I like this because I'm usually triggering the tracks for drums live. I like it because it's so simplistic. It is almost no
it's
way
barbarian
it can go wrong.
simple.
Exactly.
You don't have to worry about any lag at all from any kind of audio stuff. There's never because we had tried to do it with a laptop before, and I absolutely hate to see people futzing around with a laptop
for more than one reason.
on a stage.
One, I just don't like how it looks.
I don't like how it looks.
much.
That's why I had to find like a stomp box solution. There's a couple of ways that you can do this solution, but this is the one that we found
I like this one a lot. I'm happiest with this solution. When we used a laptop in the past, also sometimes randomly and for no reason, your laptop just has issues and wants to update or restart and just do random stuff that you don't need it or want it to do at that moment.
This little guy, this little pedal, he never has to worry about that.
And there's no updates. That's it. It's a plug and play. You stomp it, you change the track, you stomp it again. It's like you can't go wrong with it. That's why I love it. Also, it's incredibly durable because it's made out of like stomp box metal material.
Yep.
You can't go wrong with it. So until we do find a live drummer, I'm loving this solution. Next, why don't I show you some of the guitar strings that I'm using before I show you my guitar. So right now, I switch guitar strings like here and there, but I wanted strings that were colored because I got a guitar that had a lot of red in it. So accidentally got an orange set, but just so you can see what I'm using at the moment, it's the DR,
He usually
the
uses
neon
the red ones.
Yeah, so I'm using the red ones, and I'm gonna show you my guitar right now. Actually, I'm gonna just bring this bad boy over. I love this one. I'm sure you've seen this before.
Dun, 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 dun.
Who made this? Is this the Bill Amat?
This is the Michael Amat signature Tyrant by Dean.
The Michael Amat Dean Tyrant guitar. I absolutely love this guitar. Absolutely love it. I love how it plays. It feels so good. It's so easy to play up and down the neck of this guitar.
And you love yourself a Flying V.
I absolutely love Flying V.
Which is very metal of you.
Since I've discovered Flying Vs for myself, because, you know, I had a lot of other guitars. It's not like I hadn't seen the shape. But once I started playing Flying Vs, like, I could not get enough of these. I just love them, and I love
I like
crazy,
the big
funky,
pointy headstock too.
I love the
cool.
headstocks that Dean and BC Rich do on their guitars. I love that it's not the normal shape. I'm a fan of the extra effort. I really appreciate it. So as you can see, I have the red strings on this one.
And if we had a black light on, that they would glow. That's the cool thing about these
which is really cool
strings.
because a lot of clubs do have a black light, and I have had them glow in clubs that we've been able to play, which is really cool. So this is what I use for my guitar. Let me show you my amp really quick. 1 second, excuse me. I'm just dragging everything in the camera. I'm not even moving a set. So put this on your lap for half a second. So I use a Line 6.
It's a Spider. I know that.
Yeah, I use a Spider Line 6. This is an older version. I've had this for,
It's the Spider 4 75 watt amp.
There you go. Spider 4 75 watt amp. I've had this for, several years. I actually got this as a gift because stuff happened to my old
Somebody
gear.
must have been so generous and nice to have gotten you such a cool amp.
I love Line 6 products. When I used to have just, I don't know what kind of amp and a bunch of different pedals as you start falling into that pedal trap. I came across a Line 6, I don't know when or how, but I ended up getting a Line 6 amp at some point. And I've just kind of never changed after that. I love the distortion on Line 6. Their distortion is absolutely what I want. I don't even need anything else. I just plug right in and put the distortion on. Now I'm currently starting to try to mess with more sounds a bit. I haven't as much in the past, but I'm just opening up my creativity. So going forward, we'll have a lot more different crazy effects. And again, Line 6 is fantastic for that. So I don't even need to get any other pedals because there's a million different sounds and samples and different things, and you can update it. They're just fantastic. So I'm just a Line 6 guy. I absolutely love Line 6. I've always have. If they ever hear this and want to sponsor me, hit your boy up because I love your products. I'm probably always going to be using them. And that's what I use for my amp, including live. We just mic it, so it's good enough for any of the clubs or venues that we're playing. Haven't played any stadiums yet, but they're on the way, and that's when I'll upgrade. Rose, why don't you show them a little bit of your mic and the stand?
Yeah, hold on a second.
Yeah, let's get that off of there.
So, I use. Well, let's see. We can do this. Hold on. We're gonna
let's
show
tilt it a little bit.
This is a. Hold on.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Let's do one of these. Okay, there we go. So, this is by a company called Hale. This model is called the Fin because it has a little fin on its head right here, like a little mohawk guy, right? This part in here is blue interior inside, and it glows when it's this is not connected, obviously. This is where it connects. It's not connected to anything right now. But when it is connected to a power source with phantom power, there is an LED inside of here, and it glows. This is actually the same mic that one of my heroes, Wednesday 13, uses on stage. Nice. He uses the black one with a red interior.
Nice. Yeah.
Which totally fits with all of his coloration. The cool thing about this is see this little brass knucks here actually is where you can adjust the height of the stand.
I think it's so cool
It's
that the
very,
nuts are
very
functional
cool.
and it's not only decorative.
And let's see if I can point this correctly towards the camera. The base, it's very heavy. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So the base of this thing says "pow" like a comic book, and it has a little explosion. And it kind of looks like a car steering wheel a little bit. This thing is so freaking cool. I saw this thing. This stand is made by Ultimate Support. I don't think they actually make it anymore. They had a line of custom mic stands that they made for a while, and they were all super cool. They had one that was like very druid looking, that had like Celtic cross and like all these cool little details on it and stuff like that. They had this one, and then they had another one where I think this part here, instead of brass knucks, it was like a grenade, which is really cool. It was very cool. It was a very cool line of mic stands. I'm very sad that they don't make them anymore. Because I would happily buy. Every once in a while I try to go on eBay and see if I see an old one of these that I can
snatch up.
buy again, just in case. Because this one has like gotten wobbly on me a couple of times, but I'm gonna milk it for all it's worth. It's here to stay until it doesn't work anymore at all.
I feel that. I've done that with many guitars
This is
of
my
mine.
mic stand. I love this thing.
Like, I'm gonna play this into the ground.
It has a lot of attitude. It's really fun. I've always liked to customize my mic stands. I even had at one event that I performed at, somebody stole the mic stand that I had decorated.
That's crazy.
I was like looking for it backstage everywhere and I couldn't find it. And I was like, why would you take my mic stand? Like, I had sculpted this whole cool little creepy baby head thing that had gone on the front of it. And somebody freaking swiped it. I was like, come on, you couldn't have confused this for one of your mic stands.
Oh, that wasn't
There's
confusing.
no way.
There's no way that whoever took that wasn't confused.
Yeah, no. And they stole the mic that was attached to it. That was also mine.
Wow.
Yeah. I was very upset about it. Anyway, there is one more piece of gear that we have to share. Why don't we stop for a second and I'll go grab it.
Go grab it.
Okay.
I'll just hit pause. Because you can pause the recording and not even have to stop it, so it's still in one block, which
that's cool.
Sometimes it's nice. Okay, you're live.
All right. So aside from that, I also often use this is another piece of live stage gear. This is the TC Helicon Voice Live Play. It allows you to like scroll through different banks of effects. And once again, you know me, I like me some stomp boxes, so it's a stomp. It's super sturdy. It's very like nice and strong. I will say one of the things that you have to keep in mind is that it has a volume knob on the side, and you should always make sure that this volume knob is not turned up too high, because it will like boost the living heck out of your signal and your signal will be insanely hot, and you will upset your sound person. So just make sure that this little volume guide, which is not like labeled super well, it doesn't say, oh well, it does. It says mic gain, but it's very like lightly colored in the background and stuff. So just keep that in mind, that it's kind of hidden, the little volume knob and stuff, and it could be too high, and if it's too high, the signal's going to be crazy strong.
Gotcha.
But aside from that, it's great. It has a lot of different options, and then you can also save whatever effects that you like. You could save it as a scene, so you could literally make a playlist and stuff if you wanted, or you could just trigger it and then move on to the next one in the bank and have just only your favorites, as like, you know, once you choose out which ones you want, you can literally have like a favorites list. So you just press that button and then it has all of your favorites and you just boom, 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 swap out. I don't use like a huge amount. I try not to jump too much because some of the effects have different boosts on the vocals, so it can be disorienting to the sound person. So if I notice that any of them have like a lot of stuff, I try to adjust the volume ahead of time before I do it, or I just let the sound person know ahead of time, hey, song number 5, my vocals might come in a little bit hotter or something like that. So there. There you go.
All right. I think that's going to wrap up the gear section for us.
Sure enough.
Our bass player, Corey Carver, he just lives a little far, and it's not always the easiest to get him over here for some of these interviews and such. But, his gear isn't incredibly, insanely complicated or anything. So let's move on to the next question, Rose.
The
I
last
believe we
question.
have one more.
Tell the viewers where they can listen and purchase your stuff.
Well, that's simple. Go to cutlikethismusic.com. You can purchase our album digitally. We have our first EP as well as our follow-up single with a remix from the band Angel Spit for our other song, Boogeyman. Those are all available on our website. And if you go to our Bandcamp, bandcamp.com/cutlikethis, we have a little bit more merch on there currently, but I'm going to be making sure that the regular website has that very soon also. On the Bandcamp, you can also purchase a t-shirt from our band. I should have worn it to show you, or at least had it, but oversight. It's fine. You can get a t-shirt, you can get the hard copy of our CD, the actual physical copy, and you also have the option to have us sign it for you if you would like, as well as a couple of buttons and sticker packs on there. We will be expanding a lot more this year because we have big plans to be releasing a lot of singles throughout the year leading up to our EP later on this year, and which with each single our wonderful singer and artist will be creating some art and some cool t-shirts and merch to go with the single, so we can have like little packages and little moments to commemorate all those new songs coming out, because it's been quite a bit for us to put out some new music, and it's time. So here we go.
It's that time.
Yeah. Is that anything else you want to say, Rose?
Well, we're also on YouTube. You can check out all of our videos. We have 4 music videos. We also have our review show, The Cutting Room Floor, where we review horror movies and sometimes anime as well. And
all spoiler free.
We try to find the best in streaming so you don't have to, because sometimes it's like you have so many choices.
There's too many
that you don't know
on
which one to choose.
Exactly.
So we got you covered, okay? We are here for you.
Every week on Friday, we drop a new episode of The Cutting Room Floor, so you never have to wonder, what do I watch this weekend? We're always going to have a recommendation for you, so don't forget to sign up for our mailing list and never miss an episode, an issue of anything that we're going to be doing coming up soon, because it's time, Rose.
That's right. It's time. Thanks again for having us. We're super excited to collaborate with other creators and keep it freaking spooky.
Once again, we are from the band Cut Like This. I am Thorn Black.
I'm Rose Blood.
And we are out.